Cartoon cat, siren head, man with the upside-down face, country road creature, bridge worm, long horse, lil nugget, anxious dog. If a siren calls your name from a tree line, it is not a rescue. It is a design choice by something that wears warnings like skin and feeds on the moment you trust it. Cartoon cat. Cartoon cat is apex not because it is loud, but because it rewrites the room you think you are in. The claim is simple. Where cartoon cat appears, the rules of scale, framing, and impact bend toward its mood. The pressure is survivability under chaos. People vanish near liminal retail spaces, locked arcades, and shuttered fairgrounds where echoes ring a beat too long. If your odds depend on stable geometry, they drop to near zero the second its body stretches across a doorway that used to be 6 feet wide. Under the hood, Cartoon Cat runs on elastic logic. It moves as if the world is a rubber set and it is the only actor who knows it. When it turns, the light seems to follow its grin, not your flashlight, and that is the mechanical tell. Some insist it is only as strong as belief. The cleaner reading is harsher. Doubt does not stop a train, and this thing rides through disbelief the way a black and white frame rides through a projector gate. Against other headline monsters, Cartoon Cat dominates proximity control. Siren Head calls from far. Cartoon Cat arrives inside your frame. Impact. It shifts viewer psychology from fear of noise to fear of edit, and once you fear the cut, every corner becomes a mouth. Verdict. If anything in your periphery bends like rubber while everything else stays rigid, you are already on its stage, and stages are built to keep audiences seated. Siren Head. Siren Head ranks apex because it blends camouflage, lure, and blast into one predator. The bold fact is that it mimics the exact voice you wanted to hear and then punishes you for wanting. The performance metric is range. It stands still long enough to become background, then crosses space in 3 strides you never see. Survival drops when the signal matches a loved one, a weather alert, or a local call sign you grew up with. Mechanically, Siren Head is a signal thief. It loops cries, tones, and clipped chatter, then stitches them with static that masks footfall and wind. The sound moves first and the body follows like a shadow with bones. Pushback says a recording cannot think. The on-frame counter is the timing. It waits. It selects. It answers your name with your name back, and timing is a decision versus field. Next to Country Road Creature, Siren Head is less nimble, but more surgical at distance. Against Cartoon Cat, it loses in close quarters, but wins in open ground. Impact. You stop trusting alarms and start wondering which voice belongs to you. Verdict. When the forest speaks in a voice you love, you walk the other way until silence returns. Then, you keep walking. Man with the upside-down face. This one is apex because it does not chase bodies. It corrodes mood. Where grief pools, he is present, and the proof is how often he arrives after pain and not before. The stakes are population level. If he amplifies despair, events that should heal become events that repeat. The casualty is not a count. It is a neighborhood tone. Mechanics are parasitic attention. He appears in cameras and lingers at thresholds of tragedy, and your mind looks twice because wrong faces demand a second look. That second look is the foothold. The counter theory says he causes disasters directly. A steadier reading is worse. He curates them and then harvests the aftermath, because a curator lasts longer than a spark. Versus field. He is slower than Siren Head and subtler than Cartoon Cat, but he spreads farther because sorrow travels without shoes. Impact. You start guarding your mood like a perimeter, which is exhausting and exactly what he wants. Verdict. If sadness feels heavier than the facts, step away from screens and step toward people, because his reach prefers lenses to hands. Country Road Creature. Apex by terrain control. It owns margins like empty highways, service roads, and country parking lots where the map is flat, but the dark feels uphill. Pressure is geometry. It fits through spaces your door frame says are too small, so you cannot rely on architecture to save you. It moves in long sways, then vanishes into angles that should not hold a body. Its craft is silhouette warfare. From a distance, the posture reads as elderly and harmless, but the gait betrays it. Limbs hinge wrong, and joints pause at fractions instead of at whole numbers. The pushback says it is only a photograph trick. The sober detail is persistence. Different settings, same proportions, same hunched watchfulness across empty roads that should not have spectators. Compared to Bridgeworm, it is less deceptive up close and far more patient at range. Impact. You will never again sit in a parked car on a quiet road without checking the mirrors twice and the space under the rear bumper once. Verdict. If a shape on a lonely shoulder looks almost human until the second step, do not wait for the third. Bridgeworm. Apex by Ambush Design. It wears a face like an invitation card, then peels it back when you are close enough to read the fine print. The measurable stake is approach distance. Anyone who lives by the rule that smiling faces are safe at night will close range exactly to where its reach begins. Its arms run long like scaffolding, meant to pull rather than strike. Mechanically, Bridgeworm is a two-stage puzzle. Stage 1 is the mask, plain and neutral. Stage 2 is the reveal, a lined grin set in tissue that moves like something trying to learn how to blink. The reveal is not just for fear. It is to anchor your eyes while the hands do the work. Counter reading says it is a tunnel-only threat. Better reading says it caches under any overhang with a hidey hole, from culverts to maintenance bays. Versus field. Against country road creature, Bridgeworm loses in open ground but wins wherever concrete makes shadows. Impact. You learn to distrust the safest-looking smile in the worst possible place. Verdict. If you pass a face that looks painted where faces should never be, add 6 feet and a new route. Long horse. Apex by Inversion. It is the only one here that helps. Where it appears, there is warning, not malice, and the test is whether you listen. The pressure is time. Its neck threads through rooms just before events that bend lives. When people treat it like an omen instead of a monster, casualties drop. Mechanically, Long Horse functions like a quiet alert system. It bends across impossible angles without weight and leaves a sensory calling card that people describe as faint and warm. It does not block. It points. Some argue it draws danger the way a siren draws crowd. The steadier detail is correlation. Omen does not mean author, and a warning in advance is the rarest gift this world gives. Wow. Versus field. Next to everything else on this list, Longhorse wins in purpose. It is not a predator. It is the thin line between you and the second worst day of your life. Do not glamorize harm. Focus on craft, logic, and psychology. Verdict. When a long skull passes quietly through a corner and you feel calm instead of panic, tighten your plan and leave early. Lil Nugget. Not apex in power, but apex in spread. It multiplies from a larger, messier parent and learns human spaces faster than you can child-proof a kitchen. The pressure is resource drain. It eats what it finds and turns homes into nest maps. And while it is cute, cute is camouflage for productivity. Mechanically, Lil Nugget is regenerative meat with a borrowed gaze. It does not need organs to act like a pet, and that trick disarms the hardest heart in the room. Some say it is safe if fed and handled with care. The sober angle is appetite as a fork in the road. Feed too much and you do not have a pet. You have a promotion to something that does not love you back. Versus field. Against apex killers it looks harmless, which is why it wins at infiltration. Impact. It teaches that kindness without boundaries is not kindness. It is bait. Verdict. If you adopt a problem because it smiles, you will own a disaster when it grows teeth. Anxious dog. The closer you get, the less it looks like a dog, which is the entire point. It reads as familiar at 50 yards and as wrong at 5, and most people decide at 10. The stakes are misidentification and territory. Enter its space and it responds like a guard with no leash and no concept of warning shots. Its craft is skin like glass and a mouth like compromise. The body looks half-finished, as if it forgot to pick which animal to be, and that confusion is your split second of risk. Counter-reading says they can be soothed, and there are stories that support it. The quieter truth is variance. For every calming, there is a charge, and chaos does not grade on a curve versus field. Against hounds from other worlds, anxious dogs are more deceptive and less pack-driven, which makes lone encounters more dangerous. Impact. You stop trusting your first read of shape and start weighing posture, angle, and heat in the air. Verdict. If your brain says deer, your gut says dog, and your eyes say neither, you are already too close. Here is your second vignette. Picture a gas station after midnight, windows filmed with dust, cooler humming off-key. A shape leans by the ice chest and does not fog the glass. The decision that saves you is not bravery. It is leaving without paying and buying your water in the next town. Final thought. Trevor Henderson's apex creatures work because they weaponize the gaps between what you see and what you want. Learn the gap, and you live in it, not under it.